And here we go, you guys. Oh my gosh. So today is so super exciting. We have today our Tutorpreneur Hero Award winner. Now, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but our Tutorpreneur Hero winners from our Jumpstart Your Online Tutoring Business Masterclass, they always end up being people that get more than 10 students. I never really initially saw this when I started this group. In fact, my goal was for everybody to get one student. If everybody got one student in 8 weeks and learned all of the basics of how to run their business, I knew that we were going to just really change people's lives. And then we had, during the very first class, we had Kimberly Geschke, who ended up getting 24 students. And we had Rachel Bernstein, who got 10 students and was completely booked, couldn't even accept any more students. And then last time around, we had Abby Doughty, who got 16 students. And today, I'm going to be introducing our newest Tutorpreneur hero to the Tutorpreneur Hall of Fame, just coming on up after this. That's right, you guys. We have here today Braquelle Newton. And Braquelle Newton, I had put down that she had gotten 22 students, but in actuality, she got 23. In fact, because of people like Braquelle, I've had to actually change our tracking sheet where we keep track of how many students people have. I've got to add 4 on there for a week because I think you got 4 students in 1 week, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And it's not the first time, so I need to change the tracking sheet to take into account that there are people getting 4 students or 5 students. So we're going to change that for the next time around. But it's so exciting to be able to congratulate somebody like you. And I want you to see, you guys, what her award looks like. And she's going to be receiving this. Here's what her award looks like. It says Tutorpreneur Hero Award, Braquelle Newton for getting the most amount of points during the Jumpstart Your Online Tutoring Business Masterclass. And it has today's date on it. So we are super excited to be able to hand that to you today. What an amazing accomplishment.
Yes, it is great. It's really awesome.
And Braquelle, tell everybody where you're from.
I'm from Nassau, Bahamas.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. So she's from the Bahamas, and so many people, they want to tell me that it's because of where they live that they can't get their online tutoring business started. But Braquelle is here to tell us that that is not the situation at all. It doesn't matter where you live, where you're from, what you tutor, you're definitely going to be able to get students. And you tutor math and reading?
Yes, math and literacy. Yes, I do. Yes.
Awesome. Those are the 2 areas that I love teaching as well. I'm more on the reading side versus the math side, but I do have a couple of students that I work with on the math side that I enjoy working with as well. Kind of changes it up a bit.
Yes. My own is the reverse. I have more math students and a few literacy students. So yes.
Well, very cool. So you guys, Nassau, Bahamas. What's the weather like there in Nassau today?
Well, today it's a bit cloudy, but it's still warm. It's still nice. And well, we are basically on a semi-lockdown, but people are still able to move about. But the weather's pretty good.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, I would say we've always been on a semi-lockdown, but people kind of followed the rules a little bit more towards the beginning than. But now here in my state, everybody has to wear a mask if they're indoors
Yes.
ever
Yes.
at all. So
Yes.
you have the
Same
same
thing.
thing there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys, those of you that are inside of the group, please tell us where you are from. We've got Am Mwela from Zambia. I love it. And she too
Yes.
does mathematics and accounting. I'm curious to know what is the weather like in Zambia too. So definitely share us. We've got another Joanne out there. Ooh, Joe V. Thank you for joining us. Great name that you have. And of course, we've got our wonderful Beth in the house. And
Yes.
I know she's such a rock star. And we've got Irene Nicholas in the house, and Jan Kilby, and voila, Patrick Kayanda, and I think that's everybody so far. So keep track. Oh, and there's Raja. Raja is an Arabic tutor, and she's also joining us. And she's so excited for the winners because she's joining us in the next Jumpstart program that starts
Oh,
next week.
Awesome staff. Awesome staff. Really, you won't regret it. You won't regret it at all.
So tell me, Braquelle, what was school like for you when you were a kid?
Basically, for me, school, it was the traditional. And one of the things, my story basically, in terms of why now I like math more than language, is the fact that I sort of struggled a bit with math. And the thing is, I realized why I struggled whilst I was going through the program, and we had to reflect, in terms of writing a letter for our videos. And I looked back and I said, something? It wasn't a matter of me really struggling. It's a matter of me, my fears that were transferred in terms of from, the adults in my life, whether it was the teacher or parents. It's obvious they didn't really like math. And so therefore it came across and it transferred to me. So I just built up a defense in terms of saying, ooh, I can't stand it. And as a teacher, I'm also a trained teacher, an elementary teacher. As I grew up, as I went through the grades and got into high school, it became a little bit clearer. But more so in college, when I was doing my teaching degree, I decided, math. Let me try to make it a little bit more interesting, fun, and diverse for students. And so from then, which was basically that was what 1996 about, yes. I started finding a more love and passion for teaching math, and then I got into tutoring math, because again, and I've seen children just basically because of my love, I guess, and passion, and taking the time with them and everything like that. I've seen children who basically was like me, I hate math. Oh, it was like, and then just that sparkle in their eye when that light goes on, really just encouraged me to do it a little bit more. And so, yeah, so math was not a good thing for me in my early years.
Well, I think sometimes that's what kind of motivates us, isn't it? It's like we take an
Yes,
area that was kind of difficult for us when we were growing up and we want to make it better for kids and make it easier for
right,
them. It's like we find out
right.
these little tricks and things that can help us, and
Yes,
we just want to be able to share
yes.
that, right?
Yeah, because I was basically strong in every other subject, and math was the grades weren't. Some people would say they weren't too bad, but then compared to the other areas, it wasn't as strong. And I also realized if I had gotten help, I think it would have been, so much better if someone had just taken the time with me. I think so. That's why now I try to encourage parents, and friends that guess what? This is a real situation. And if you can't do it or the teacher's not doing it, you really need to find help. And you see a tremendous difference, once kids receive that help initially, because
Yeah.
math isn't going anywhere.
And it really isn't. I mean, so you better get a handle of it right now,
Yeah,
right?
yes, yes.
Yeah, for sure. So what motivated you to go for your teaching degree?
Oh, well, basically, I think from I was a young child, my parents always said I used to line up the dolls and play school.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I had aunts, they've grand aunts basically. They had like they were teachers, and sometimes I would go with them up to the little preschool that they operated. And so it was just after that I actually wanted to do an law, and then but then I just went into the teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Oh, funny. That's
yes.
exactly what happened to me. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer and I was going to go into law. And then when I was in college, I joined a mock trial group and I was like, oh,
Mm.
I love acting, but I don't know if I like this whole lawyer thing.
Yes,
Like, and
yeah,
having to like stand up for people that you know are guilty. And yeah,
yes,
I struggled with the ethics of it. And so then teaching was the next thing that kind of popped into my head of what it was that I wanted to be able to do. So it's interesting that we kind of had a similar path there.
yes.
So then, how long did you end up teaching in the school system?
Well, basically, I'm still in the system
Okay.
presently, and now I've been in the system that's what 25, 26 years.
Okay.
Yes. But this summer, I've been tutoring basically face to face for the last probably what 8 years. And during the pandemic was when I actually started the online.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is, it's just so amazing. And I also know that it's so divine because during the pandemic, every the teachers we basically were thrown into it. But for me, I
Mhm.
love technology and I love learning, and so one. It was a Saturday or something. I always remember this, and I said, "This is going to be a part of my story." I said, it came. A parent asked, she's like, "So what's going to happen? You want me to mask up my child and drop them by you, or what?" So I was like, no, let's see how it goes. So after doing the regular classes, then I was like, okay, I think I could do this. And one Saturday, actually, I said, let me see what I could learn or find out about this online tutoring. And I had no idea who Joanne Kaminsky was, but I sat there all day Saturday just watching video after video after video. I have two young adult kids, and so they came in the room. They're like, "Mommy, what's going on?" And I just looked and I followed, and from then I just subscribed and I was following you. And I had later, what was so amazing, later that evening, a colleague, she actually called me and she's like, "Oh, I have an idea. And so she's like, because she and I worked together at the
Mhm.
same school. We were doing this after school care with kids and everything. And, she just, but I never said anything to her that what I was doing that day. And then a week later, through one night, I woke up and it was like God just spoke to me, said, something. And then I think you had sent a email in regards to this Jumpstart, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I can afford to do this. And I was like, and I kept listening to you because, you were just producing videos, your letters and everything. And it really captivated me. And I was like, and she and I started to come up with what we thought was our idea and everything. Then I was like, something, if we're going to do this, I prefer to do it right. And
Mhm.
I've watched, don't get me wrong, I've also saw other videos of other tutors, but y'all with the process and the journey that you share, it was so much more natural, so much more real, relational and stuff. So I was like, something. I think you had a monthly plan and then you had the full thing. And I'm like, guess what? The least I could do now is get better. I can't get no worse. And so I just was like, I'm not doing it monthly. And I just paid for it, I think at the last minute, but I have no regrets, none
Aw.
whatsoever. And it just gave me a whole different, and the colleague and I, we're looking at things to do it totally different, and I'm excited, and she's excited for me too.
I am excited for you too. That is what like an awesome story. And then to come out and be the number one winner of the entire thing.
Yeah, that was, oh wow. The compound effect, oh my gosh, that was, I mean, and the weekly meetings and everything, the guidelines and the readings, the suggested videos and things like that. I just, took it serious, and I really, really, from that first chapter, the compound effect, when he said, just try making small adjustments. And I did just that. I basically, and then you came on and you were like, I think our first activity was basically to make a list of
Hmm.
persons that we haven't spoken to for a while or whatever, and just reach out to them. And I did just that basically. And and I tried to do the Facebook thing and everything, but it was more or less for me reaching out. That first initial, that just kept growing and growing. And when it came to the sales conversation, because me, I said, now I don't want to sound salesy and stuff, but the conversation became so natural. And then you had the planner, the 5 day, and so every morning I got up, I wrote out my steps, and I was intentional. And to be real, there were days sometimes I didn't get all five, but what I liked about the plan is the fact that you can write that down and you can do it again the next day. So it isn't a matter, and it was really strategic. And then Darren Hardy, that's his name, yes. He was like, the story, one of the stories he drew, he alluded to was the lady who wanted to run the marathon, and starting with just the little small walks. And I even got on a exercise routine and everything. And I'm still doing it today. So
Yay! And we
yes,
need to, as online tutors. Oh my gosh, we have to be on top of it because otherwise the weight can just start piling on because we're at our computer for so long
yes.
during the day. Now, when you started tutoring online, you started charging less for your services, right?
Yes, yeah. Well, the thing is, because okay, in the Bahamas it's a little bit different, so our rates will be different from the rates that internationally and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
I remember that was something my partner and I we discussed, and we were like, you know, everybody started to advertise and have these little. But I always said, you know something, I know my worth.
Yeah.
You understand? I know my worth, and so the fact was that I wasn't. I knew that I wasn't going to be less like everyone else because you're going to get quality from me because I take my time. You know, as a regular trained teacher, you know, I know what I do there. And so now if it's something personal, most definitely I'll give it even more my best, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked at it and I was like, we're going to go with this. But now after, you know, going through your program and everything, I spoke to her and I'm like, okay, we got to think about it again. You
Yep.
know, I'm sure it's going to be worth it. And I'm sure persons will be comfortable with it because they're
Mm-hmm.
going to see the difference. They're going to see, you know, like you said, you've tried the rest, now try the best,
Mm-hmm.
basically. You know?
Exactly, exactly. And I think we don't always have to compete on being the cheapest, but I think once you start making a name out there for yourself and you can begin to get those referrals and all of that stuff can start happening
Exactly.
for you, amazing things are going to happen for your tutoring business. And that's really,
Yeah.
really exciting stuff. So, in the beginning, we charge what we feel comfortable with, right?
Yes.
As we
Yes.
go through the program, we start realizing what our worth is and we start
Yes.
getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Exactly. You are so right. That is so, so true because, you know, honestly, even I had one or two parents were like, wow, you know, like in terms of, you know, their kids being exposed to others. And then when they basically, you know, tried me, they were like, whoa, wow. And, you know, and some of them were like, you like a big company, like you really, you know, real, really good. And, you know, they're like, and, you know, they don't mind paying it, you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that's the truth because we pay for what we want, when we
Yep.
want it, and how we want it. So I have realized that you've made the program has made me a little bit more comfortable with it, you know, to realize that, hey, I'm not doing a disservice, I'm doing a service,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely. And so, did you end up making the money back that you initially put into the program? Did you make that money back?
Most definitely. And I was able to purchase the subscriptions that you recommended. I was able to do a few other things, you know, in terms of self-development and even for our little company situation, you know, it's really worth it. You know, I basically made that back the first week.
Oh my
So
gosh! Did you hear that? She made it back the first week, you guys. I mean, incredible. So, and that's really the point that I really want to let people know. Like, I don't put that price tag on there to scare you away. I want you to realize what's possible and that you're going to make a whole heck of a lot more money than that. So, investing in the course is definitely not something that is a cost. It's definitely an investment. We do show you step by step how to be able to take those next steps and be able to move forward. Our amazing Elizabeth is going to put a link inside of the description. I also have a link inside of the description. If you're like listening to this and you're like, I don't know why I haven't joined yet. I'm. It's been crazy. I actually have a link right inside of here that I'm sharing with you guys that shares more information about our Jumpstart Your Online Tutoring Business program. But I want to let you guys know that when I first started helping tutors, I thought all I needed to do was just show them the steps that I took. Like I really didn't understand the mindset that a brand new tutor needs to go through in order to make that flip and that switch to like I'm running a business here. And so once I started seeing where tutors got stuck, I began to be able to create content that would help them get unstuck at those specific points. And then we've turned it into a game. So
yeah.
we've got just some friendly competition that we've thrown into the mix, where people get to win a copy of the planner that we use. If they are the winning team, they work as a team. What was your experience like on your team that you had?
Oh, the stars. Oh my gosh, they were awesome. And our coach, Ashley, whoo, it was really a great experience, you know, meeting persons from all over the world and basically we coming together weekly and everything. And in the Facebook group, it was really supportive, you know. and everybody was really encouraging, and it was an awesome. Our team was awesome, awesome. Ashley, awesome. We had a great time,
Hmm.
and Beth definitely showed up in all. So awesome! It was really. Listen, join, join, join. And
Yeah.
and the persons, and what I like about it is the fact that the group is enclosed, and we're so here it is now, as online tutoring. Yes, we all in our separate places, but there's a place that we can go to network. And the fact that bouncing ideas across the world, basically, because sometimes we become stuck in our own little environment and think that what we're doing is okay, when you realize that, hey, someone else is doing the same thing, but a little bit different. And so maybe I need to try that, So the variety, I mean, and it's really, and makes you to see things differently. And one thing I know, and this really touched me also from the program in terms of, for me, and when it comes to work ethics and everything, a lot of people look at me and consider me to be a perfectionist. And in a way, I think I was. And then I think we did a session or something like that, and make me to realize, oh wow, I don't even want to be associated no more with being considered we think it's something good, but in
Right.
reality, a perfectionist is not. And like you said, and that's what stood out most, was the fact that most persons who are successful, they made their success through mistakes. And
Yeah.
so that stuck with me. And so now I'm learning to just, move along, work, be open minded. I think that's a key thing too. So also when you're joining the Jumpstart program, also, come with an open mind, a
Yeah.
real open mind, and willing to try, because what was the reason you joined? Because you wanted to see something different. You wanted to do something different. And so be open to that and just try it, because which you is obvious what you were trying wasn't working, because if it was, you wouldn't need to join,
Hmm.
so I mean, and
Exactly.
I can say, so it's really worth it, and enjoyable. And I know it's still a journey.
Yeah.
I'm still at the beginning of it, but I look forward, to the day that I can honestly. And this summer has been awesome. Now I'm like, okay, school's about to start, and now I need to learn how to, organize everything, because a lot of the kids, they are continuing. Their parents want them to continue, and so I'm like, okay, all the time I had to pry, and I have to find a way now as summer's ending how to juggle them. But it's going to work out. It really will.
Are you gonna stay like with your teaching job and do tutoring on the side, or do you think you're
Yes.
eventually gonna move into just completely tutoring?
Well, for now, because I'm basically on a contract situation,
Okay.
I will continue. But
Sure.
also, we don't know how this, because I work for a private school. We don't know how things is going to pan out in regards to parents questioning whether or not they will continue and how they're going to continue. And I mean, and a lot of people see the coronavirus as a curse, but I see it as a blessing.
Me too. I
A
do too. I do too because
blessing.
it has just turned people's minds upside down about what's possible
Yes.
with online. So it's
Yes.
pretty cool.
And it really helped to push me. I mean, and a lot of online tutors. And so that's why I also say persons who just picking up to say they want to do online tutoring, no, do it the right way. Get yourself trained, listen to other persons who've experienced, who've walked the journey, who are walking the journey, and really, because the thing about it is, we all rushed and spoke about the 21st century. We're now here, and so we need to be the difference, the change agent. And as online tutors, a gateway has been open. There's enough for all of us, but you need to be
Yeah.
trained and equipped and network. Don't be selfish about it either.
Yeah. And I just love that, like, when you were getting your students, you got them through really relationships and networking. You
Yeah,
reached out to those people that you knew and you
yeah.
started having conversations with them. And how did those conversations go? Andy, I'm just so curious about how you were able to get
Well,
those
basic.
students.
Okay, well, basically, some of them were basically, I get a few were past parents, some were friends, high school friends, believe it or not. I came across some of them, and it just was like, some of them is basically a text, and it was like, "Hi, what's up? How are you? It's been a while." Just reaching out, saying hi,
Sure.
And they're like, everything's good. So they ask, so what are you doing? I'll ask, so what are you up to? And then they would ask me what I'm up to. So I'm like, okay, I'm in online tutoring and everything. They said, ugh, because a lot of persons had a bad experience from the school. So I was like, why you said it like that? So they were like, oh gosh, I don't want to hear it. So I was like, so I said, do you think your child is comfortable? Were you comfortable? They were like, no. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay. So let's just try. I said, well, let me just try. I said, what if I try to reach out and help you, in a
Yeah.
way or something like that. Initially, believe it or not, one or two persons through that, I basically was like, I did it, and without expecting, because we never even spoke about price actually. And I did it, and the parent was like, after 3 sessions, the parent was like, no, how much you charge? Say like, I really have to pay, you know what I mean? And because they see the difference, and they were like, can you actually, so this is how it's really should be. So I'm like, somewhat. I said, because school is a little bit different, a little bit more kids or whatever. I said, but basically, yes, they have access to do these things. So they were like, oh, so okay, I like this, and so a lot of them, we continued. Like I said, some of them they rolled over, and some of them they, referrals, like you said. But the conversation was natural, and it just how you basically suggested it would happen. I was like in awe. It really did. And when I think which week that was it the fourth or the fifth week? I think when you gave in the Kajabi, I think we had where you recorded, I think one of your clients or something like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
And I only smiled because I'm like, oh wow, it really, that's just what how it basically went,
Yeah. Yeah.
and persons who sometimes think they know and don't know, so I felt really comfortable and everything. But the conversations were basically natural. You just, like you said, the first step is to reach out.
Yep. Yep.
just
Because a
just
lot
reach
of us
out.
are we're connected through social media, but a lot of us don't actually reach out to the people on social media. We're really kind of just like post our own stuff or different things,
Yes,
and we're not really working on building those relationships. And so,
right.
just reaching back on out to the people in our lives is a first
Yes,
step because
yes.
they're the ones that are going to want to help us out the most in the beginning.
Yes, yes, and really, so that's just what basically happened for me. And I'm like, I wasn't able to like really keep up with my Facebook page and stuff like that because I had a lot, and it was coming in. So I was like, wow, but I need to totally, now I'm taking the time to organize the website that I have now. My a colleague and I, we're going to rebuild because we thought that was nice, but we realized it is nice, but it can be better.
Yep.
So
Yep.
so and like you said, it's all about making relationships, because also that was something initially we were trying to honestly hide behind a brand basically. And then nothing killed us, like, oh my gosh, here it is, I'm joining this program, and they're saying no, 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 no. But I took no offense to it. I just continued on, and now, like I said, we know exactly what to do, and now we're just going to do it and put our
Yeah.
face out there, you
Yeah.
know.
Such a, and you bring up such an important thing. Like a lot of tutors, they hide behind the we, they hide behind the logo, they hide behind the company name, and instead you want your face to be in
Yeah,
front of your company name,
yeah,
your face in front.
yeah,
You're an individual. You want to be
yeah,
an I, not a we. Unless you have other tutors working for you, you are not a we. And so
yeah,
people will automatically start assuming, oh, it's just one big company trying to get money out of
yeah.
me, blah blah blah, right? And they just have these negative connotations with
You're right. Yes,
companies versus an individual who has passion and desire to be able to help your child. I'm sure that people began just seeing that immediately out of you, and really wanting to have their child work with you because of how authentic you were being and how real you were being.
yes, most definitely, and like I said, now, we're going to go through a change, a transition with that, and basically, just put our face there, and,
Mm-hmm.
to replace it, basically,
And
and
that is scary, isn't it?
it is. I mean, at first, because and I think it's more personal affairs and stuff like that, and because of what Again, the Bahamas is we are an exposed country in terms of we know a lot, but then at the same time, the mindset sometimes that we have is a bit limited. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad I did the program to expose me to see differently, and to realize that, hey, as this, I can still do my teaching job and I can still do this. You
Yeah.
understand? And then we're building it in a way so that, I mean, and I've had basically 25, 26 years teaching. So my days in there is closer to the door than, so I need to start to make my way. And I looked the other day, I said, to someone, wow, maybe my days may not even be as long as I thought,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I feel good about it. And, I will continue because, one of the things, we learn to be is loyal to certain stuff, but then at the same time, we have to be wise in our
Yeah.
choices and our decision. But
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you remember? I don't know if you came. Did you come to the first motivational Monday where we set our goal and said how many students we wanted to get?
Yes, my own. I have it. I have it up. It's basically. I think it was good, better, and best. I think you said
Yep.
something like,
Yep.
and I think the good was what, six or something I
Uh
had,
huh.
and I think my best I think it was 12, and I was like, oh, that might be a little bit too much. And
And you
after
doubled it.
yes, and when I saw that, I'm like, ooh, wow. And the thing is, and I thought I was stretching it because you said to us, now don't underestimate yourselves. You said, even if it's a dream, whatever, just put the number there. It cannot hurt. And
Right.
at 12 there, to me, I thought I was hurting myself. But after like the third week, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is possible. And well, actually, after the first week, because, initially, even when I joined up, I was like, okay, they said if you don't get any and this doesn't work, at least you could get something back or whatever.
Yeah.
So a part of me had that. But then, like, after the first meeting, honestly, that I dispelled that. And I was like, guess what? At this point, this gonna be I'm moving up, I'm not moving down. And so
Yep.
like I said, I just was intentional. I made sure I made all the calls. I made sure, and all of the assignments I did, I just tried my best to do everything and be intentional because I knew that what I as an online tutor, I had no experience basically. So, I have an experience as a teacher, a trained teacher, but, persons like you and the other coaches and other people in the group, they've had experience. So I really listened. I really listened and, navigated my way out through it all and being intentional about certain stuff. And then I think Darren Hardy and I think it was the chapter, the mode. I met Mo, the
Yes,
momentum, getting
Mo.
that,
Big Mo.
and I mean, and that was like really, and the timing and everything, the timing for everything, the program is really, really organized because honestly, at first you look at it and you'll be like, okay, this seems to be how is this all going to tie out? How is it going to play out? How? Like literally how? 8 weeks, how? And week by week I saw it unfolded and I was like, wow, and everything is in the correct place, basically, even when y'all did the checkpoints to see because I think by week 6 everyone it's a little bit you felt not I wouldn't say overwhelmed, but basically you realize because now at this point, if you're serious, you're really trying to manage your regular life and what you're doing. And so right there, it became a little crossroad. And I like when we had the calls and everything, the coach, Ashley was like, let us know, and, to talk about it and everything. And after that, it was like smooth again. And, it was really, really good. It was really, really, I mean, and I can't say it again, you know, some of us, want to do it again, but I don't think I need to. I'll allow someone else this time. But in terms of the encouragement and the team, oh my gosh, even we were in teams, but then still, in the Facebook group, people from other groups were still. So, like you said, it was a friendly competition, and it served as a motivation, so to speak, also, and also to let you know that hey, people are there. They see you. I see you. Some of them was like, Braquelle, I see you. You're doing great things. You're doing, and then also I in turn, I didn't let it get to my head. When persons were saying they didn't, I tried my best to encourage also, because I realized, I guess this may be my time,
Yeah.
but before me, it was someone else's time. And so I just sold back into them, even in our own little group, our classroom, I would motivate and say to them, we can do it. And sometimes we just prepare, and because preparation is key also.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And so it's not just about getting students, is it, at the end of the day? There are so many little pieces and factors. In the beginning, we think it's only about getting students. But if we don't have a strong foundation, it'll all come
Exactly.
crumbling down. If you don't have a good payment system
Exactly.
in place, if you get like a billion leads but you can't turn them into a client, you're going to have
Yeah.
issues, right? I mean, like all these little pieces that go into building a strong business are extremely critical to running your online tutoring business. And you did take the time to be able to learn all those steps. And in fact, other people, they joined you on this mission. And did you know that as an entire cohort, that they got over 85 students, and that is just from the people that were recording their results.
Wow.
85 students, and only 20 people were recording their results. So
Wow.
that is incredible. So we may have even more students that came out of it
Yes.
than were recorded. And so if we average it out, it's about like 4 students per person at the end of the
Yes.
day, which means that if you got 4 students, that absolutely pays for the course, right? And
Yes.
and even the people who got 1 student, it still paid for the course. And now here's the thing. Now you were kind of alluding to this, you were alluding to this before when you had mentioned. It looks like my audio got quiet all of a sudden. I don't know how that happened. So I will bring all of my stuff closer to me and get closer to it. But I wonder if I can just change on here. Nope, that's all the way up. All right. Does it matter? All right. Um, I think what people don't realize is there's what's called a results guarantee. Now, I am not in the business of refunding people who buy the course, don't watch the videos, don't do the activities. If you're the type of person who's like, oh, I'm just gonna buy this, but then like not actually take the action, I do not have a guarantee for you. Okay, I only have a guarantee for those people that are willing to track the results, do the assignments, be an active participant. If you do that and you don't get 1 student as you walk through the steps of this program, I will refund your money. It's not a
Okay.
joke. I am like I literally, at the end of the day, even if you walked away getting a refund, but you walked away with the strong foundation, I still feel happy about that. You actually went through the steps, put them in practice, and I know that if you keep it up, you're eventually going to get a client, right? And that's why I have that results guarantee in place so that you're not scared about what's happening to your money. I want you to be excited about what's going to happen to your money. I'm going to help you grow your money. Now, if I told you that I could give you a money tree that would automatically begin growing money for you, you would look at me like I was the craziest person in the world and be like, what planet are you from? Well, I really want you to think about this program as being that magical tree that's going to grow you money. Each of the stems that grows off of that is going to be a new student. That new student is going to grow leaves, which is going to be more students. You're going to be able to learn how to start a business that you love and you're passionate about it. What do you love about being able to tutor your students, Braquelle?
What do I love? Oh, wow. Basically, the fact, being online, a lot of persons say, oh, you don't have that relationship or anything. But I would be the first to dismiss that, because, the thing is, you're not physically face to face, but you can still see each other face to face, and you're still able to build that relationship with them, because, as you tutor and stuff, however you decide, you interact with them. And so interaction can still build that relationship. You're talking with them, you're finding out things about Would they know? Would they don't know? You're giving, it's a give and take situation. And I love that. I love interacting with them. The thing
Mm.
about it is the kids initially, and I love, believe it or not, I love those kids who are considered to be challenged or struggle and stuff like that, because I'm like, guess what? The harder they are, the better it is, because it gives you a sense of knowing what you have to do and how to do it, and being online, it gives you all that resource, because most kids who struggle and stuff, for the most part, they love technology,
Mm-hmm.
and so the mere fact that they love technology, you have it right there with them. Also, I realize sometimes for some of them, they don't like to be physically face to face with you. And so here it is. They feel as though, even though you're seeing them, they feel that they're behind something. And they, to me, I've noticed, I don't know if you, as an online tutor, if you noticed, like to me, they tend to open up quicker than the ones who are face to face with you,
Mm-hmm.
and so seeing that, I totally enjoy that. And sometimes you hear them say, oh, the hour's up already,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm like, and then too, for parents, they were like, oh, what did you do? I noticed because parents will be moving about or whatever, or even if they're not home, they will try to contact their child to find out how did it go.
Yep.
And I sometimes allow for the first one, when you're doing the diagnostic test, they would be like, how did it go? And I'm like, it was fine this time. They didn't say. I was like, no, it went, and even I have like a third grader. And that was something also, because some people say, oh, their attention span and stuff like that, but if you keep them engaged, if you keep communicating with them
Yeah.
and everything, they feel valued, they feel appreciated,
Mm-hmm.
and they feel most of all respected, and
Yeah.
so in my sessions, I basically, what do you know? And I try to make it the environment very comfortable for them to be honest,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and it comes out. And I know one of the kids in particular too was like, the parent was like, maybe we'll just do one, because he was being reluctant. Now this child is basically going ready to start their third cycle, and so I'm like, okay, so
Yeah,
the mom
that's
was
so
excited.
awesome. That's really exciting. Yeah, I have definitely found that my relationships with my students have actually increased compared to decrease, is which a lot of people just think, oh, there's no way you can build a really strong relationship if you're doing online tutoring. And it's just not true. I've had a relationship for 8 years with one family in the UK, never met them in my life. And I know like everything about them. I've tutored every single kid that's lived in that household. I've been working with the youngest one when he was 3 all the way up until now he's 7 years old. And we work on reading and math every single day. And I just it's amazing the
it,
relationships that you
it
end up
is.
building. The kids will come to like my younger kids, sometimes they come with their little teddy bears or their stuffed animals
Yeah.
to the session,
Yeah.
or they'll come in their jammies because it's later at night and they're already in their jammies and they're just like all snugly cozy. Some of them come with their blankets, right? And it's like you could tell they're just in their comfort zone. They're just
Yeah.
really comfortable with the
Yeah.
whole entire thing. Yeah, it is absolutely an incredible experience, you guys. If you've never done it, you absolutely have to try it
Yeah.
because you're not going to believe it until you see it, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Really much so, and even for parents, like I said, during this, time where a lot of uncertainties and parents feel afraid, it's our job as online tutors, to make them feel and see that there really is no difference,
Mm-hmm.
and as a matter of fact, well, I wouldn't say there's no difference. There's a big difference, because, like you said, the relationships are stronger, it's more convenient. So parents don't have to be back and forward, and then sometimes the kids will, I mean, and there's limited movement going on now, but the average child is involved in so many extra activities. And
Mm.
so they're here, there, and everywhere. So basically, I've had kids in terms of when they're being transported, like if their parents are an essential worker, and so they're going to, say, their grandparents' house or somewhere else. Sometimes if their session, the child is in the car,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
have a little area, and and the parent is so, because sometimes, one time I know a parent, she sent me a text. She said, "Oh, we're running a little bit late." She said, "But we're going to be here." She said, "But the child, like, my child really wants to come on or whatever." So I was like, "Okay, let's see how it works."
yeah,
And in the car, and she was like, "Wow!" And she's an educator also. She was
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, wow, like my child, really? Like, what is this? And
It's like
so
mind
that
blowing,
was
isn't it?
yes,
Oh, I'll
so she was
never, you never forget your first experience of having a kid in a car and you're tutoring them. Like, there is nothing like that moment when you actually get to see it. It's like, I'll never, there's a few firsts that I had that just blew
yes,
my mind away. That was the first one that blew my mind away. The second one was that they could do it on their iPad because, back in 2010, when
yeah,
I got started, like doing it on your iPad, like that didn't even like cross my mind. The kid could
I
do it on their
know.
iPad. The third one that blew me across the water was when I was in Australia. So I'm here in Wisconsin, really, right? But I'm on the TV screen in Australia for my student. They were doing their tutoring session with me on the TV screen. I was like, that was
Wow,
the third one that blew
wow.
me away. I was like, what? The mom's like, yep, we've got you on the big screen. I was like, oh my gosh, is it scary? Like larger than life Joanne, that has got to be scary.
Yes, yes.
Oh my
But it's
gosh.
really, and like you said, it's really just mind blowing, and just different experiences, like you said, and as they come, one for me also using the kids, the Raz kids. I've never heard of Raz kids, basically, and so when that was suggested as a tutor's favorite tool, and so I was like, okay, I have some little older kids, basically fifth, sixth graders, and oral fluency and everything is a part still developing that
Mm-hmm.
too, And so the children, there was this a kid, reluctant, but when he found out that he can actually record his voice, reading and everything, I mean, and the child, even the accent changed, and he was struggling at first, but you could hear the difference,
Oh
and
wow.
he every time he was like, are we going to record, and the thing was, I did it basically to show him how to do it, but wanting that, because that can be a time consuming sometimes, and you want them to use that at home to practice and everything. So we had to come to a win-win where I allowed him to read some of it, just and so that there was also, and just to see the motivation from that. And then some of the kids, when they realized, I had some older, like eighth graders, when they realized that they can physically do their math work and stuff on the screen, on the whiteboard, and I use Zoom basically, and just a regular whiteboard and everything like that. They were, just to see them, they're like, oh wow, And the first they were like, can't really write properly, but then afterwards they were like, can I write on the screen? And to get to work out the problem and everything like that. So it's sometimes the small things too. It makes big differences.
Yeah, it does. It does. So for those people that are kind of like on the fence, like should I join Jumpstart? Should I not join Jumpstart? I don't know. What would you say to them?
Don't sit on the fence. Come over. Come into the land of light. Come into the land of light. Trust me, I sat, like I said initially, I sat on the fence and wondering, should I not? And like I said, I don't know how it is now, but there was a payment plan, and there was also the full payment. And I was like, I sat and I was like, if it's something you really want, and trust me, you will want this, you won't regret it. It's worth it, every penny of it, and
Mm-hmm.
within the first week or two, you would realize that, hey, this cost should have been more than what it really was. And I was like, I glad I paid, because if the prices change, I'm already locked in. So,
Yep,
that,
exactly, exactly,
so if you're
exactly.
sitting on,
You never know if the price is going to go up. You better lock in right now because,
and
yeah.
I'm a single mother, two young daughters in college and everything like that. And like I said, basically, and during this pandemic, I was like, okay, can I afford to, invest in that or whatever? But I realized it was for personal development, and it was worth it. I
Yeah.
must say, I sit here today, and even though having acquiring all those students is really good, but also the fact that actually, like Joanne said, doing all of the work in it. Sometimes it can be tedious, but like Darren Hardy says, piece by piece, bit by bit, being intentional. And also, I was a person not used to saying no. I want to think I can do and help everybody. And
Mm-hmm.
that is something now I'm learning to step back and realize that, it's okay to say no. and just basically do what you have to do. And networking, oh my gosh, it's so many different aspects that the program is worth it. So many different, some of you probably just in the regular ultimate support group. Do the Jumpstart program, move up. I missed the date, but I'm planning to go into the insiders. But I will be there because I want the continued support, and just to take it up,
Yeah.
because I've seen my own, and sometimes to see your own improvement is great, and then also others have seen it in me also. you
Mm-hmm.
know uh, um Persons, my family, my daughters, they look and they'll be like, okay, mom, all right. They call a little space we have, so you're going to your office today. And it's comfortable and it's nice. And also, initially some of the things I didn't have, but piece by piece, I think in some of the meetings I used to be really dark, and so I got my little lighting, and all of
Nice.
these things is what help. And like you said, basically the program, it online tutoring, it helps to pay for itself. It pays for, start with what you get. And I think when I was sitting on the fence, all I basically had is a laptop and internet service. And I prayed about it and everything. And, God was like, well, the only other thing you need is an open mind. So I came to you,
Oh,
Joanne, with a computer, a laptop, internet service, and an open mind. And now I'm walking
wow.
away with the awards. you know?
Wow. That is incredible. And I have to tell you something, and I don't know how many people I've shared this with, but this entire program was actually inspired for me personally by God. So when I was leaving the school system, I prayed and prayed and prayed, and I was like, because I had no idea where it was going next. I mean, I had left the school system because I had this pain in my side. I said, God, what is your plan for me? Like, where do you want me to go? I am your servant. I will go where you tell me to go. And he said, you're going to start your own school. And I started like thinking about a building, and I started thinking about all this other stuff. And I couldn't make any sense of it. I'm like, me start a school? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But he had something else in mind. He wanted me to be right here doing this, serving tutors, helping other teachers who wanted to be able to reignite the passion of teaching. And I think, like, what more beautiful of a mission could that
Yeah,
be? So it's no accident that you were inspired by God to follow this path, because he inspired this path to exist in the first place.
exactly. And I mean, and most definitely, I totally agree. And truly, God, and I must say now to you, thank you for listening to the call of God, and really, because honestly, Joanne, you are doing a tremendous job. And I'm sure it's not easy, because, sometimes I see in the post, sometimes persons say different things or whatever, but continue, because where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And God will continue to put people in your life that will, continue to push you. And some will try to pull, but then when they're pulling, some more is pushing. And so I say that to say that I know for me, thank you. And then I should be able to say thank you on behalf of my family. And also, my the other person, she was unable to join at this time, but she will join, but also for helping us. So you've reached, and look at this. I'm sure you had no idea that someone from Nassau, Bahamas would be a part of your group,
I
and
know,
also,
right?
so truly you are touching, you are making a difference all over the world. And so
Oh, thank
blessings
you.
to you.
Thank
Yes.
you. I really do appreciate that. And I have to say, like, your humility every step of the way, that when you went through the program, was just so bright and so golden. It, never did you boast, or never did you just like get full of yourself because you were getting such success. It was more like you were just like, hey, I just kept taking the actions you were telling me to take, and I did them.
Yes,
So if we were to peek
definitely.
inside of your planner,
Okay.
if we were to peek inside your planner, what kinds of actions did you set up for yourself to take on that daily basis?
Oh, basically, my actions, basically, okay, like I said, one of the things basically was my first two steps basically was devotions, exercise,
Nice.
you know,
Yes.
getting God's word in, and being intentional because sometimes we forget that. But I, was basically on top of that, the exercise, making sure, like you said, because once you go to sit down for the day, that's basically not much movement, but other than that, my other plans were basically to reach out to persons, and like through for me it was more convenient and less in terms of say the WhatsApp or a little email or something like that, and responding, getting responses. And so they were basically my actions, like I set up all of, like, I had a Facebook. I set up a link, the LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
thing. I worked on that. Then also it said, our personal goals and stuff, and professional. My professional goal at this point was basically to do this program.
Mm.
So what every day I worked on something that was related to the program.
Yes.
Also, the reading. I basically, the compound effect. I was reading up on that. Sometimes I read the same chapter like twice, if I, because I was taking it in portions, and then at sometimes I would listen to the audible whilst I'm doing something. So just taking it all in,
Mm-hmm.
and just putting down my little plans and stuff like that to go along. And I'm seeing, I can honestly say after the 8 weeks, as I look back at the things, I've seen growth. I'm seeing the growth in it, because
Yeah.
first, sometimes it was only me be able to get through, even though I would write out five or sometimes 16, I was only able to get through probably two or three of them. But as time, I realized that I was being able to get through more of them, and being, can honestly tick it off and say completed, or I did this, and work on different aspects. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't eat the whole elephant. I ate pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and now I could see a bite in the elephant,
Yeah, because the program kind of moves very slowly to so that people aren't overwhelmed, so they know what they need to do and when they need to do it, so
Yeah.
that they can get acclimated to this entire process. And some people, when they hear that, they think, oh, this is the slowest moving program ever. But
No,
you took
it's
it for what it was. Like, okay, there's a reason why it's moving slow in the beginning, right?
yeah,
Like she wants to make sure we know where to go and everybody is on the same page as we move together as a group instead of like one person trying to sprint out ahead. Have you ever seen you might have you ever watched the Olympics and you see like the speed skaters, and there's always one speed skater that says, I'm not going to go with the pack, I'm going to go in front of them and I'm going to go as fast as I can. That is
yeah.
never the winner. Have you noticed?
The hare and the tortoise, the story with the hare and the tortoise.
Yep.
Okay, we know that,
Yep.
so we learned that. But sometimes, because of society, it makes us believe that that way is the best way. But endurance is what it's all about. Consistency, and that's my key word now. Consistency. To be consistent, and the small steps with consistency.
Yep.
And truly, you would make it. So it's just like, it's a puzzle.
Yep.
We all look at the end product and marvel at it, but realize someone had to sit there and do piece and see if this piece fit. It didn't. Move it, and but don't give up. So don't give up. If you come this far to think whether or not you're going to join the program, join,
Mm-hmm.
join. My words,
Definitely.
join.
Definitely, because we want to have these packs of tutors winning the
Yes.
race, right?
Yes, definitely, definitely, definitely. And I always say, if I can do it, trust and believe you can do it also, because there's nothing that made me more better than you. Like you said, just basically I followed the program. And so that's what it's all about, following what it is. Sometimes I may have to adjust something, but follow the basic plan. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what it's all about.
And you guys, for those of you who stuck with us this long, I'm going to give you some extra freebies to be able to join us. So I am creating right now, it is called Business in a Box for Online Tutors. And I'm going to be giving that absolutely free for anybody who moves forward with our Jumpstart. I'm still in creation of it. I've got most of the pieces ready to go, but you're going to get direct access to it starting Monday. I'm going to open it on up, and you're going to get access to this amazing new tool. It's going to give you every single document you've ever wished for or wanted, a contract, a way to be able to keep track of your students, a customer response form, so you can keep track of which stage of the process is each of your clients. Are they thinking about the services? Are they setting up a call with you? Did they go, yes, they are a student? So all these different tools I'm going to add in there for you. A flyer template, all these different things that you are going to get just complete access to for joining us. It's over $1,000 worth of tools and templates that I'm throwing on in absolutely free. And on top of that, anybody who gets started in the next 30 minutes with a Jumpstart Your Online Tutoring program, I'm personally going to give you a 30-minute one-on-one session with me directly, so that we can make sure that you get a great head start inside of your tutoring business, and I can help you with anything that you personally are stuck with. Now, we had the question, is this only for people that are Americans? No, we have tutors from all over the world joining us. We have people from Nassau joining us. We have people
Exactly. Uh-huh.
right? We have people from Australia that join us. We've had people in the UK. We've had people in Canada. We've had people from all over the world not only join us but succeed. And our last Tutorpreneur Hero was from the United Kingdom. Abby Dottie was from the United Kingdom. So this is if you want to be able to set up an online tutoring business, you guys, we are here to support you and guide you. And thanks for joining us today. It always amazes me how fast these calls go. And I'm going to be sending you your Tutorpreneur Hero Award. This is what her Tutorpreneur Hero Award looks like, you guys. It's got her name on there, today's date, and just what such a huge accomplishment. So again, thank you so much for joining us today, Braquelle, and sharing your
Thank
story
you.
and how you got your students, and just how you actually reached your success through just following the steps that are outlined in the program. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you too.
And enjoy the rest of your day, you guys. Bye, everyone.
Bye.